Will Hardy continually says you cannot replicate late game experiences for the youngsters, and they got another one tonight. We'll talk about it coming up on Postcast. It is David Locke along with Ron Boone, usually the Jazz radio team, but we were not together tonight. So this will be a very interesting postcast because I do not know what Ron Boone thought, which usually at this point I know everything Ron Boone thought about the game because I actually try to listen to him during the game. We have not been together. I did TV tonight for Craig Bowler-Jack, who's under the weather, and hopefully we'll be back on Wednesday. Ron was with Scotty G as the Jazz lose to the Blazers 114-112. Jazz led by 1 after 1. They trailed by 10 at the half. They trailed by I think 10, close to 10 going into the fourth, or got it down to 5. Then they trailed by 10 again. Then they worked their way back, and they had a chance on the final play of the game with Keontae George. Couldn't really get a good look, and the Jazz fell by 2 to the Blazers 114-112. So I will just leave the floor open for you to start on your main comments to a night where you and I didn't get to hang out together.
I was impressed. And when I say impressed, I mean very impressed because young guys, and you would probably know better than I how many minutes those guys have spent on the floor together, and then thinking, okay, they haven't spent a lot of time on the floor together, but Will said that, they've graduated, or they should have graduated by now. Being able to recognize situations out there on the floor, maybe that they haven't been in, but make the right decision. I thought I saw a lot of good things tonight. What I would have liked to see a little bit more, a little bit better than what they is attacking that defense early in the ball game, meaning they get after you. I mean, the Portland Trailblazers played out, get after you defensively. I would like to see them attack that a little bit better.
I thought in the second,
for the most part, I thought they played well.
So let's go to various things. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff you put in there. Great. Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to do. So let's go. Second quarter, I thought they just got tired. I thought the Jazz got worn out by their pressure. I mean, they didn't score the Jazz hadn't scored for 5, didn't have a field goal for 5 minutes till Collier hit the buzzer beater at the close the half. I thought that was just that the pressure had worn them down. Youngsters were playing extra minutes, and they kind of ran out of juice. Is that?
I totally agree with that. And I would agree with that. That pressure defense, it puts so much pressure on you, to not turn the basketball over or to make the right play. And the big thing is with that pressure defense is how long it took them to get into their offense. Now, think about the comments, and I think you and I have discussed this before, that players that can do something or make your score or make the right play in a short clock. I don't think we have that player right now that you can put in a short clock, 5-6 seconds on the clock, and they can make some things happen, the Donovan Mitchell type things, or, that type of thing. And so I thought in that second quarter, as you mentioned, because of the pressure tiring them out, that short clock was not their friend.
All right, so let's talk about their pressure defense because I also think it had a big impact. And then we'll get to the positives because I think the headliner today should be, and we'll get to this in a second, that Will Hardy asked for the youngsters to graduate, and for the most part, they acted like they'd graduated tonight. I think that's what Will kind of say postgame. But we did also see, which is super interesting to me because Houston, maybe just were too tired, is supposed to be this team with pressure defense, second best half-court defense, athletes. But Kamara picked up at 90 feet every time here. They're in you the minute you cross half court, and Keontae finishes the night. He hits a bunch of shots late, so his line is going to look much better. But Keontae finished the night 6 of 22, and that's going to be because he hit his last probably 3 of his last 4 shots. And Isaiah Collier was 2 of 9.
Yes.
So those two guys combined for 8 of 31. And I think that's because of the guard pressure that we saw. Kamara is really something at 6'8" and that long. And Simons and Henderson really deep.
Grant as well.
Right, at 6'8". Yeah. I thought that's probably, if you're trying to analyze the win-loss in this game, the Jazz make a flurry, and then but from the individual game standpoint, that's the story to me, is that their pressure knocked Isaiah and Keontae off their regular offensive game.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. And you and I have discussed this, and I discussed it with Scotty there as well. That kind of pressure, you have to set a guy up and you have to go. I mean, you have to get him on your shoulder and then get into your offense, or don't let the defense get set in the half court. And but starting to play with that type of pressure, I was so surprised with Kamara. He just flat out gets after you. He has long arms. He's always reaching, trying to deflect your dribble, and it takes away your concentration. But for the most part, I thought the Jazz did a great job tonight.
Remember, he gets hurt like 3 minutes into our 40-point blowout against them, and we don't have to face him in that game. It made it all right. However, the real story for the Jazz, so that's the game headline, but from the Jazz standpoint, is that guys have graduated, and we'll talk about that when we continue here in just a moment. Today's show is brought to you by DoorDash. NBA fans, get ready. They swoosh, you save. Thanks to Dash Pass, every time a player drops 50 or more in an NBA game, you score a huge deal the next day. It's simple. When any player scores 50 or more in a game during 24-25 NBA regular season, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order, up to $10 off the next day from noon to midnight. You can have a game day feast, late night cravings, lunch on the go, whatever it might be. So sign up for Dash Pass and be ready to save. When any player scores 50 or more in a game, Dash Pass members get 50% off the order the next day, up to $10. Just use the promo code NBA50 from noon to midnight. After a 50-point game, eligible and participating merchants must have an active Dash Pass account. Terms apply. Visit DoorDash to learn more. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. That's right, FanDuel, the official sports book of Locked On, as well as partner of the NBA. FanDuel has all sorts of great deals for you right now. And what's going on at FanDuel exactly? Well, the number one sports book has got you ready for live bets throughout the game. Even if you missed the opening tip or want to bet on the fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. If you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets in the same day parlay. You can use FanDuel's live betting feature. The app is easy to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if you $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com. Your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook betting partner of the NBA. They've graduated, Will Hardy said, and I think Kyle Filipowski most certainly has.
Oh, my goodness. He is really surprised me, the growth he's had here. I'm just going to put this like the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, let me give you one number. Ready? Okay. This was the number you would have heard if you would been with me, the TV viewers got. Up to February 1st, he was 7 of 31 on above the break threes, 20-some-odd percent. Tonight, he goes 4 of 4 on above the break threes. He is now 11 of his last 17 on above the break threes since February 1st.
Shooting the three well, but I think the other part of his game has come along there as well. Passing, we knew he could pass the basketball, but he seems to be making good decisions. He had 10 rebounds, like 11 rebounds tonight.
And some high up rebounds, like where he went up above the crowd to go get it rebounds.
And that's what you want to see, a guy that, and I think he's going to be one of those mobile guys at 6'11". And maybe over the summer, David, he can work on his handles where he can put the ball on the floor and drive into the basket and make something spectacular or something like that. Right now, it's more straight line drive and then spin. Other times we'll see what happens, over the summer. But his growth here in the last couple of weeks, where his presence out there on the floor, he's out there. And so I'm very impressed with him. He played about 36 minutes tonight.
I thought the one that jumped out to me, and the reason I mentioned the above the break 3-point shooting, is because if you go back to that Clippers game when they sagged off him and left him, he couldn't do any of his other things. Because he couldn't make the above the break 3, his passing game suddenly disappeared because there were no passing lanes because people were so far off him. He couldn't drive because nobody was guarding him. And so, but now all of a sudden, if he's making the above the break 3 and the defender has to come up on him, we've now seen him each of the last 2 nights. I think one of them was reviewed, and I think he didn't get the call at the end. But he's driven straight to the basket. He had a great power move against the Rockets late. He tried it again tonight, this time with the left hand. Like that above the break 3-point shooting is opening up so many other aspects to him from his also his passing, because now they're up on him, which creates a space for everyone to cut behind him, which makes Jokic and Olynyk and all these other guys so valuable. Is that if they're up there and they're 7 feet and you have to body up on the cutting lanes are always open. So, I mean, I think that opens up his game in a dramatic fashion.
So Jazz 14 and 43. What is that? How many games is that? It's 57 games.
Yeah.
The next 20 games is going to be important for him to the point where he's already in the scouting reports, but to the point where how they start to scout him now and see how he reacts to it. It's good being in a scouting report.
Right.
That means you're making progress and you're getting better, and other teams are concerned with you.
It's also like, this is one very minor thing. And, Drew Eubanks. It was really important for the Jazz to let Kyle Filipowski develop, and then you trade Drew Eubanks and you get a second-round draft pick, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but you needed to trade Drew Eubanks to let Kyle Filipowski play. Like, It's really perfect roster management in a season like this by the Utah Jazz at that backup center position. And now, let me just give the other side of the story. The Blazers, every single play for the last 6 minutes was a high pick and roll that either was shooting at Micah Potter until he checked out, and then it was shooting at Kyle Filipowski every single play. And he got a stop on, I think, Denny or Grant over here on the left side. But otherwise, Simons was kind of having his way. Like, that's going to be another thing, is like, how do you figure out how to play defense in the NBA? That's going to be a huge challenge for him. But offensively, he's brilliant right now. All right, Cody Williams looks totally different also. He's graduated.
Yeah, he's graduated there as well. I really was impressed with his first half, and you could see the minutes, consecutive minutes meant a lot because he seemed to be more into the basketball game. Tonight's minutes for him was only at 26, and I think his high was 20, well, he was playing a lot at the beginning of the year, which means that he was averaging about 20 minutes a game. I'm not sure what his minutes have been as of late because, he's been up and down as far as the G League is concerned. But I saw some good things. I don't think he's graduated yet, put it that way.
I just thought he looked really different. I thought he did a good job defensively. I thought it was interesting they had him on Simons late. He was on Jalen Green late the other night. Like, they're using him. I just thought he looked, I don't know. I got to tell you what, I was very excited about Cody when we drafted him.
Mm-hmm.
His body and his energy are further behind than I thought, but I have now begun to see most of the things that I liked about him again, and that excites me. Yeah. Is that fair? Like,
and that
length,
okay,
ability to get on the rim in limited steps or dribbles, 1 foot jump, off foot jumping on 1 foot. I think ability to finish at the rim when he gets stronger because of that length.
Mm-hmm.
And ability to probably defend as he gets stronger. The shooting is further behind than I thought.
So to add to what you're talking about, he's just not sitting in the corner now.
Right. I mean, for a while we saw nothing. Right. I mean, like, he literally played the most feckless 8 minutes at a time. It was crazy. So I thought he was, and then, Collier I thought was fine tonight, but I thought Collier was outmatched a little bit also by the pressure. Like, I thought he dealt with Kamara early, but I thought it knocked him off his game and fatigued him. Like, and that's part of the lesson.
Yeah. And again, I think with his speed, as good as Kamara is defensively, I don't think Kamara could have matched his speed if he would set Kamara up and just go.
Right.
Then that probably would have helped him. But going and then stopping and giving Kamara a chance to catch up and then have to change direction and stuff like that, that just played into the length of Kamara and the Jazz getting into their offense.
The one other thing, and the reason I'd give him a little bit of a graduated vote today, and then I'll get your reliability pluses, and we won't go forever, even though we didn't hang out tonight. The Jazz just played the Blazers to the wire, played with them every step of the game, and looked like they belonged. Last year when the Jazz had this type of limited roster, and poor Keontae was out there by himself, it was such a mess. Like, It wasn't like because Keontae was a mess. It just, like, we were playing Kenny Lofton Jr. and all these guys. Like, we kind of had that tonight. Like, we started Johnny Juzang, KJ Martin, Philip, who's a pro, Filipowski, Sensabaugh, Collier with Keontae and Cody and Micah and Svi playing. Like, that's getting pretty thin. And I thought they stayed in the game. They got down 11 a bunch of times, but never down 18. They stayed there. They kind of hunted and they huffed and puffed. They had a bad stretch at the end of the second quarter, but the whole time you felt like they were working their way. I was just kind of impressed by shorthanded crew tonight.
And I'm sure the fans were too. I mean, I saw some fans get up in closing minutes of the ball game, I guess, trying to beat the crowd and that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, got a chance to win.
Yeah, then Scotty G lured him back.
Yeah.
All right, reliability pluses.
But this is tough. This is very tough. Obviously, Filipowski's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Sensabaugh.
23 tonight.
Yeah, 21. And not so much the points. I think he's getting better defensively.
Okay, good.
Keontae and Cody Williams.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. That is Postcast tonight. I'll have Locked on Jazz for you. I apologize. I did not have Locked on Jazz for you today, and I will explain tomorrow also. But just so you know, I was actually not supposed to be here today. I was in Phoenix watching my daughter play golf, and so I was taking the game off, and then I got the text late last night. The bowler was out, and they very politely and professionally and nicely said, hey, we know you're off, but is it possible to get back? And so I did, but it just meant that there was zero chance to get everything done in the day. So I wasn't planning to prep a broadcast. I suddenly had to prep and had a TV audience I had to prep for. And so that happened. So anyway.
Well, I tried to give you the information, but the starters anyway.
Yeah,
so
you guys were all great.
Them,
so I appreciate it. So one person asked a question of, is there a difference between calming with Ron and Thurl? Yeah, two things. One, I've done this with Ron so long, I generally know what he's thinking before he speaks. And so that kind of is something. Two, the way I view this is that radio, and this is why I like radio more than TV, because I'm an egomaniac. Okay, here's the answer. Radio, the order of importance is play-by-play, analyst, producer. TV, the order of importance is producer, director first, because you have to follow what their picture is. Analyst and play-by-play is third. You're just kind of a traffic cop directing and telling a story or driving somewhere. You're not calling action the same way. Yeah. So the difference between Thurl and Ron is not, I can't answer what they're like because the formats of the two broadcasts are so incredibly different. Radio's way more fun.
It's the elements in TV.
You can do whack. Actually, I thought they were smooth. I thought they were cleaner tonight than I've felt in a while. Than I'm watching too. So that's the difference. It's a totally different job. There's nothing similar. Like what I did tonight is a mental exercise that's 100% different than doing this. So yeah, that's the answer to your question. Hope that's all right. This got long. See ya. Bye.